ASMR deep sleep. Put on your headphones now and drift away into the world of sleep. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. Scheichegrider. Picture buying meat in the middle of a blazing summer. No refrigerators, no freezers, not even a scrap of ice. Just raw cuts of flesh hanging out in crowded medieval markets, surrounded by buzzing flies. That was everyday life back then. So how did anyone make sure the meat was safe to eat? Fresh meat had a very short shelf life. Within a day or two without cooling, it could go from dinner to danger. The moment an animal was butchered, the race against time began, and more often than not, decay won. Markets during the warmer months were risky places to shop. Flies swarmed meat stalls like tiny demons, spreading germs from one slab to another. The stench could make your eyes water, and that was just a warning of worse things. Bacteria spread fast, turning good food into deadly poison. Every purchase was a gamble. One unlucky bite could sicken an entire family or worse. Food poisoning was serious business in the medieval world. A bad meal could be fatal. Butchers carried a heavy burden. Selling spoiled meat meant ruin. Town officials enforced strict rules, and punishments were severe. A single mistake could destroy a butcher's livelihood and reputation overnight. Communities depended on honest meat sellers, and trust was everything. Still, people back then weren't helpless. They refused to let nature win so easily. Across towns and villages, they developed clever ways to keep meat edible for longer. With only basic tools and local knowledge, they created preservation systems that were surprisingly advanced. Food planning worked on a different rhythm than ours today. Meals weren't about daily choices, they were about long-term survival. Proper storage was as important as harvesting. Those who mastered preservation survived harsh winters. Those who failed went hungry out. And what makes this story remarkable is that their struggle gave us flavors we still love today. Bacon, ham, jerky, and sausages all started as smart ways to fight spoilage. What began as survival techniques became culinary traditions. Entire trades formed around this skill. Salt dealers, smokehouse workers, and curing experts were essential to every town. Their work separated times of plenty from times of starvation. What they created wasn't just preservation, it was artistry. They didn't just stop meat from rotting. They discovered how to transform it into something richer and tastier. And it all came down to timing. Medieval people learned that the easiest way to avoid spoilage was to prevent it from the start. That's why most animals were slaughtered in late autumn. The timing was perfect. Cold weather slowed bacteria almost to a halt. As winter arrived, the air became a natural refrigerator. Meat could hang for days or even weeks without spoiling. There was another practical reason. Keeping animals alive through winter cost resources few families could spare. Feeding livestock meant using hay and grain that people needed. animals wouldn't survive the cold months anyway. It was wiser to slaughter them while they were healthy and fat from summer grazing. During the cold season, people stored meat in sheds, cellars, or under-roofed outdoor areas. The chill did the work, preserving food naturally. What began as a necessity became a social event. Autumn butchering wasn't lonely work. Neighbors gathered to help, sharing labor, tools, and knowledge. Processing a large animal was too much for one family alone, so everyone pitched in. These gatherings became yearly highlights. After months of mostly grains and vegetables, fresh meat was reason to celebrate. Children learned family secrets about curing and salting, while adults exchanged stories and recipes. It was practical and joyful at the same time. The shared effort filled both the pantry and the heart. Each person played a role, from cutting meat to preparing storage spaces. Knowing how to slice, when to dry, and how to spot spoiled meat was wisdom passed down through generations. By combining knowledge, teamwork, and perfect timing, medieval people turned one of life's biggest dangers into a triumph of human ingenuity. Your cow gets slaughtered this week, mine the next. We trade cuts that won't keep so both families enjoy variety instead of eating only beef for months. The system worked perfectly because it fit human needs with the rhythm of nature. No struggle against summer heat or winter chill. Just cooperation with the seasons. Timing the slaughter was just step one. Even in cold months, meat wouldn't last forever without extra help. That's where salt became the savior of medieval kitchens. Salt worked like magic. It drew moisture out of meat, leaving bacteria no place to thrive. Without water, decay stopped. But salt back then wasn't the cheap seasoning we sprinkle today. It was rare, costly, and closely guarded. People called it white gold for a reason. Wars erupted over salt sources, and powerful trade routes existed just to transport it. Some workers even received wages in salt, giving rise to the phrase, "worth his salt." Communities had craftsmen who mastered curing with salt. Precision was everything. The right amount preserved meat for months. One mistake ruined the whole batch. Two major techniques dominated. The first was dry salting. Butchers covered every surface of the meat in thick crystals of salt and left it to rest for days or weeks. Moisture slowly drained out, leaving the meat tough but safe. The second was wet salting, using strong brine. Meat soaked in salty baths absorbed protection from within, becoming nearly indestructible. Salted beef, pork, or fish could last entire seasons. The flavor was strong, chewy, and salty, but it was survival food. Families soaked salted meat before cooking to remove excess salt, then boiled or roasted it into filling meals during hard times. Salted meat shaped medieval culture. It was the backbone of winter diets, lifeline of long voyages, and foundation of armies. Sailors lived on salted pork and fish. Soldiers marched with barrels of salted beef. Monks stored piles of salted cod for fasting days. But salt wasn't the only tool. Communities used several preservation methods at once. Drying was both practical and beautiful. Butchers sliced meat into long, narrow strips and hung them in rows like cloth, letting airflow draw out moisture. The best drying spots caught steady wind, avoided rain, and received just enough sunlight. Busy towns built huge drawing frames in market squares, wooden skeletons designed to catch every passing breeze. Travelers described towns draped with strings of meat, shimmering in the sun like cobwebs. Drying took time and patience. Beef could take 2 full weeks, fish months. One storm or humid spell could ruin everything. Indoor drying rooms helped reduce that risk. Coastal towns used sea air and mist to dry fish faster, boosting flavor and preservation. Drying wasn't just about safety, it changed flavor. Dried meat developed deep, complex notes. Some regions even used it as currency. Travelers carried jerky the way we carry cash. Light, nourishing, and universally useful. Skilled producers earned serious respect. Smoking was another powerful tool. Smokehouses were simple: 4 walls, a roof, hooks for meat above the fire. Woods like oak, hickory, and apple flavored meat uniquely. Smoke didn't just season, it protected. It killed bacteria and created a thin shield on the surface. Smoking also kept flies away. Hams, bacon, and sausages hung for weeks or months, slowly transforming into flavorful, safe food. Medieval cooks even discovered acid preservation. Vinegar, wine, or brine prevented spoilage while adding flavor. Wealthier households used fine wines for status: oil, honey, or combinations of methods. Salt, acid, and oil added layers of protection. Pickled meats became essential for travelers and traders. And then there was sausage, leftover bits of meat salted, spiced, and stuffed into intestines, created a product that could last weeks. Garlic, black pepper, and fennel weren't just for taste. They disguised slightly older meat. Sausages evolved into regional art forms. German towns favored garlic. Italian villages used fennel and wine. French regions added herbs. Recipes were family treasures, often passed down for generations. Modern salami, chorizo, and bratwurst trace their roots to these medieval innovations. Entire communities relied on strict systems to keep meat safe. Inspectors checked every slab, sniffed and pressed for signs of rot. Some towns banned summer sales after noon or required marble tables to keep meat cold. Punishments for rule breakers could be harsh: public humiliation or worse. The best preservers, however, earned fame. Through smoke, salt, drying, acid, oil, and clever trade, medieval people transformed fragile meat into lasting nourishment. Their ingenuity helped societies survive created flavors we treasure today, and laid the foundations for much of European cuisine. From survival to artistry, the story of medieval meat preservation is a testament to human creativity against the odds.